What's going on, good people? Welcome back to my channel. All right, this video is going to be about Kenny Smith. All right, and this one is long overdue because Kenny Smith has been double dribbling all over himself the past couple years now. And it's starting to seem a little bit like it's a bit of envious hate, if anything. All right, so I believe it was last year Kenny Smith rolled out his top 10 players of all time. And he didn't have LeBron James in his top 5, which, again, I think that could be argued depending on whose list it is. I mean, LeBron is in my top 5, but, I think when you get in that area, it's a bit arguable. So if he didn't make somebody's top 5, okay, you could argue that for sure. I'm not going to sit here and say that there's no way. However, I believe he just made the top 10. I think he was number 10 on Kenny Smith's list. All right. And then you have delusional Charles Barkley, who didn't even have him in his top 10. Top 10. And that to me is just ludicrous. All right. Because when it's all said and done, LeBron is going to finish top 2, if not number 1 all-time scoring. And he's going to finish top 5 assists. I believe he's going to finish number 3 overall in assists. And we've never seen that before. Somebody to finish inside the top 5 in both scoring and assists all time, never been done before. All right, there's not a single top 10 scorer that's in the top 20 for assists. All right, so, and that's just actual stats. All right, if we're going to look at LeBron too, he's a winner. He has 4 rings. And who knows, by the time it's all said and done, maybe he adds another 2 or 3 to it. So for anyone to sit back and say that he's not even in the top 10, that to me is just a lot of hate going on. So when it comes to Kenny Smith, I'm not sure what his gripe with LeBron is personally. I could speculate. I do have some speculations on that. And I think, when you look at the old heads, a lot of, former players didn't respect him jumping ship from Cleveland to Miami. And me personally, I didn't have any problems with him making that move because he was a free agent and he was within his right to go wherever he wanted. Nothing different than any other player in free agency. All right. The thing I had a problem with was how it was handled and how they put it on TV and made a big spectacle of it. But even that to me was not on LeBron. Like LeBron didn't have enough clout at that time to demand to be put on TV. So I think he was approached to do it on TV and it kind of was a booby trap, you know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure he was probably coaxed into doing it because you could tell he seemed very uncomfortable and nervous. It was already nerve-wracking enough, and to force the guy to do it on TV, which I believe he was forced to do it. And I think looking back on it, he wished he had more clout or more courage to be like, nah, I can't handle it like that, So that was the thing I had a problem with it. But as far as the move, he's entitled to go wherever he wants. It's free agency. He doesn't have to stay in Cleveland when they made no attempts to make that team better, all right? Because he took a team to the finals that had no business being there. And they ended up getting swept in the finals, but that was expected because he was up against 3 future Hall of Famers, all right? One in Tim Duncan, who we just saw get into the Hall, and he's going to be followed shortly by Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. So that team that LeBron dragged, kicking and screaming, to the finals had no business being there because that was a bunch of role players, a bag of hammers, and some rusty nails. All right, he had nothing to work with. And if you see, when he left that team, most of those guys on that team faded out of the league because LeBron is the ultimate band-aid for any team. He'll make any player or any team look better than they actually are. And we've seen that time and time again. But getting back to Kenny Smith, I personally think that his problem with LeBron is exactly that. I think it is a bit more personal, all right? I think if you guys remember, there was years back when LeBron made it into, I think it was the top five. So I think at the time Hakeem Olajuwon was number five, and then LeBron leapfrogged him to number five, bumping Olajuwon out to number six, if I remember correctly. And at that time, I believe LeBron posted something. I don't know if it was a repost or not, or something along those lines, but it was like an artist rendition that was done. And in it, it showed the new top five. They're inside like some cabin or whatever, toasting each other. And it was Kobe, Karl Malone, Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and then LeBron, who was the new person in that group. And it was a cartoon of them drinking and celebrating, and you see Hakeem Olajuwon at the window looking in, looking all sad, And to me personally, I was a big Hakeem Olajuwon fan, so I had a problem with that. That kind of irked me a little bit, and I thought it was a little bit juvenile and a bit of a low blow for LeBron to post that, no matter, okay, it was a little bit humorous or whatever, but, you don't do people like that, especially when you just pass him. It was kind of a low blow thing to do. And I think to this day, Kenny Smith is holding that with a huge, huge grudge, because it bothered me. I'm a big fan, and Kenny Smith played with Hakeem Olajuwon, and he has 2 rings today because of Hakeem Olajuwon. So you can only imagine how he took that. And I think to this day, if given the opportunity to, take a little jab at LeBron, he'll jump at it, because I think he still holds on to that to this day. And again, I could be wrong, but I don't see any other reason for him to really just hate on LeBron like that, because there just is no need for it. But for whatever reason, he really, really wants to hate on LeBron. And he takes little shots every now and then. And the most recent one is him calling Steph Curry the best in the world. All right, like Steph is having a great season, and I don't think anything should be taken away from him, because, that team that he's working with is not very good, and he's got them in the 8th seed working on the play-in, and he should be commended for that. But if the roles were reversed and LeBron had that same Golden State team in the 8th seed, he would not be able to live that one down, because the expectation for LeBron is so much higher. And that's what people sometimes forget, is that when LeBron doesn't do what he normally does, which is take a team to the finals, everyone questions, oh, what's going on? Is he falling off? Father Time has caught up with him, etc., etc. So if he had a team sitting in the 8th seed and he was healthy all year, that wouldn't fly. Like his team right now is the 7th seed, but that's because he was out for, 6 weeks? And prior to leaving, they were number 1, and they fell all the way to 7, having to be forced into a play-in, which they just got through last night. But there's no way that if he was taking a team, no matter how bad the team was, that same Golden State team, if he has them in 8th, people will be like, oh, LeBron's lost a step or two. But when Steph is doing the same thing, they want to call him the greatest. So it really just doesn't add up, because if you were that great, you're going to be held to a much higher standard, right? So, and it's like that for any great. When Jordan was playing, if they didn't go to and win the finals, people were like, oh, what happened to Jordan? Like when he came back in that 95 season and they got bounced out of the playoffs by Orlando, who ended up going on to the finals and getting swept by Hakeem Olajuwon and Kenny the Jet Smith and the Rockets. But when Jordan missed the playoffs that year, people were like, oh, well, the rust seems to have not worn off. Maybe he's not the same player he was. And he had to come back the following year and win before people consider, would call him again as the greatest. So the level that we hold the ultimate greats at is so high that there's no way we would be calling them the greatest if their team was just barely hanging on to a playoff spot. All right, y'all. That's all I got for this video. that's my take on why I believe Kenny Smith seems to have some animosity or some kind of grudge towards LeBron James. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like it if you want. No big deal. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.